Okay, happy to see everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Anasa this morning. And glad you're all back. So let's start with meditation. Take your attention inside, down below your belly button, and breathe really deeply straight into that energy center. And when you're ready, drop your attention through the sex chakra at the root and down into the earth. So we feel our connection to Mother Earth. We're not exactly ignoring the sex chakra, but we don't want to spend a lot of time there. Feel into Mother Earth. We are made of the earth. Every part of us comes from the earth. Every part of us that's material. And when you're ready, bring your attention up to your solar plexus, which is just beneath your rib cage in the front, where that V happens. And if you feel a knot there, just keep breathing into it and releasing. And at the same time, you can begin a conversation. What do you have to tell me? How may I serve you? What do you need? We can talk to our energetic centers and begin to relate to them and have them relate to us. They are a part of us. They are us. And the parts of them that aren't flowing have information that we need or not. It may just release as we put our attention on it. See if you can get the area to soften and expand. And as that happens, check the back of this energy center and see if that is also available. When you're ready, allow the energy to move up to the heart center. Again, checking through the front and the back. With your breath. When you're ready, allow your awareness, energy follows awareness, to move to your throat. From the throat, move up to the third eye, behind and between the eyebrows, in the center of the head. And then feel the energy going out the top of your head, rising up, and falling down and around in 360 degrees around your body. coming up from the base of the spine. So you have this circulation. Looks a little bit like an apple with the central channel at the core. Allow yourself to experience that flow. Expand your awareness beyond that. Into the field of pure energy. Understand that we are spirit beings having a physical experience. At this moment, we are focusing on that which is not physical. How may we serve this morning? Keeping your attention inside. Allow yourself to be present to the outside as well. And we're here to engage however. I'm so happy to see your shining faces this morning. Hmm. What can we do for you? Truly, we're interested in what you're interested in. Yes.
I just want to say it's so good to see Nancy. Welcome back.
Right there with you. Hmm. We've all been with you. And we missed you.
It's nice to see all of you. And this has been a slow heal. And so quite a bit longer than I thought, but making my way through. And put me up against myself. Well, not against, but with myself in sort of spaces I haven't been to before, where where I didn't have really any control or sense of how this healing would go. And so it's been a journey. And I found myself, I had scheduled cataract surgery kind of on the back of this, that's upcoming. And I'm really meeting with our particular friend yesterday that gave me a treatment. He advised me that I should consider otherwise. So I think that might be the case. I was going to talk to my primary care person this week, but I think I'm going to make the call tomorrow and postpone it. I'm down quite a bit of weight, and my energy is super low. And he helped me realize that I really need to be on board for this both eyes, for the cataract surgery. So anyway,
We're in complete agreement.
thank you. It's been difficult for me to shift gears, but I really feel the truth in that, and might put some people out, but
Well,
oh
the
well.
truth is there are always people waiting in line.
Uh-huh.
Always. And so the sooner you let them know, the better for everyone. But we would tell you the same advice, even if it was going to happen tomorrow, because we'll say simply this, because this applies to everyone. This is not you. We would say this to anyone, that any surgery is traumatic to the body, any surgery.
Yeah.
And so one should wait until the healing is complete before inviting another trauma, is the way to think of it. And all doctors, not all doctors, but 98% of doctors will minimize the trauma because they don't want to create fear.
Mm-hmm.
And they maybe haven't had the procedure themselves, so they have no real idea. They only have the functioning they have witnessed return over an average period of time for people.
Yeah.
And as we age, our functional recovery takes a bit longer. And so we may be anywhere on that bell curve, and it's up to us to feel where our stage of healing is at all times when we're facing the medical system, and be protective of ourselves, overly protective of ourselves, we would say, because all surgery is trauma. And we're not saying that to induce fear, but just to be honest about what, all surgery is invasive is another way we could say it.
Yes.
But we'll say trauma because we understand that word better. And invasive does sort of lend itself to fear. And it's not that surgery should be feared, but it should be prepared for physically as much as we can. If we have the option to be in our best state of health before we do a surgery, whatever surgery it is, even dental surgery, we will say, because that's so close to the brain. Any surgery that we do, it's best to approach from the best possible health we can get.
Yeah.
And that's true for all of us across the board. That's our advice to everyone. Always face the medical system at your best level that you can be. Now, lots of times there are things that we have no control over, that we just, we have to do the best we can, and that's all fine. Then we just surrender, say, this is the best I can do. It's not up to me. The goddess is with me, and whatever's supposed to happen will. And I'll be fine, because that's the truth of every experience we've ever had, is that eventually we are fine, wherever we find ourselves.
Right. Yeah,
And
good point.
so it's not about, it's truly about being at peace in ourselves as we face these things, and doing the best we can to make the best of, what are trying circumstances.
Yeah. Thank you.
We hope that's helpful to
everyone. Very, very helpful. It seems pretty clear to me to go ahead and make the call and postpone this until I'm feeling, gosh, I'm down like almost 15 pounds in my weight, and just don't have the energy. It's very slow for me to regain. So I'm going into it pretty empty tanked, so that doesn't make sense. So it's pretty clear. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You are so welcome. It's and understand that medicine in our particular world is a for-profit business.
Yeah.
We don't owe them anything
Yeah.
except, what is agreed upon. But we don't have to say yes, but just because somebody might have a brief empty space in their calendar. That's not our
Yeah.
responsibility. That's made to, they have waiting lists and all kinds of,
Yeah.
that's been taken care of. Nothing is
Yeah.
owed.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you.
So welcome. So welcome. Mm,
Nice to see you all.
mm. And we'll add, because we can feel it everywhere, that if there's anything you need, please say, because there are many people here who would be willing to. And, you can write to us and we can write to everybody. That's possible too. If there's anything you don't want to talk about, that's fine. So we know everybody's willing. We can feel it. And there's some people on the call who know food. So you could ask for whatever you want. And it could appear. So if there's any way we can act to facilitate that or anything else, please let us know. And that goes for everybody in crisis here. We are community. So if you find yourself in crisis, please let us know. We are community. We can do it together. How may we serve further? So we're in the cold, wet season, but the holidays, so it's mixed. Mm. Community is critical for all of us, especially as we age. To have friends who are like-minded, to know others who are putting their spiritual life in an important place, and be able to come together and practice together and speak our understanding to each other. Is really, really important. And we all have different things to offer in community, even though we aren't physically together, we certainly have electronic access. And this whole conversations with the NASA will be shifting. I can't tell you how, but it will be different and more available, and the website will be much more active. We don't know the timeline because, as you know, our perception of time is quite different from yours. So we understand your time, but that's not exactly how we are. So, but we can tell you that there will be big changes coming for the better. The expansion is already taking place. The physicality of it will appear at some point. But there is a wholeness coming that will inform the entire community in a different way. Everyone has access to it. So we invite you to welcome that wholeness as it comes toward you, because it is an organic part of the evolution of the system that is this community Conversations with Anasa. The vision is not complete. The energetic expansion is in process. And of course, we're all part of it. There is always more. And when we say that, what we mean is that growth is a never ending, spiritual growth is a never ending process that we engage every time we pay attention to our inner. Every time we ask deeply to be more whole, to be connected to that which powers everything. To be the language fails. We're tempted to use a word like pure connections to that source. But purity is not what we aspire to. That's way too limited. It's all inclusive access to everything that makes up a human being, so that our awareness can include all parts of what it is to be human. We don't reject anything. We learn to master that which serves the highest in this moment, to connect ourselves to that flow which connects the whole to the highest possible. At the same time, we don't even think about outcome. We think about connection and flow. These are the important things. And of course, when we talk connection, we're talking interconnection to the highest possible evolutionary source energy that is available to each of us in every moment. This is not something that we just practice when we are sitting together or sitting alone in our meditation. This transcends all parts of our life when we're not on the cushion, and is important that we engage at all moments, that we live consciously, that we understand deeply that there is always more. What that means moment to moment in our lives, to be conscious, connected, flowing, and wanting to understand the truth of love itself. It's so difficult to articulate the amazing possibility that is available to each and every human being as our birthright. How may we serve further?
I wanted to ask this something about if, sometimes there's just heaviness, it could be asked. Attach things, usually. This lightness and heaviness and density, which has a feeling of that it's not when it's all on its own. And it's and it's and this is awesome.
So the question is, sometimes there is heaviness that just comes in, could be astrological, could be already in the space, could be who knows why. There's just heaviness that's difficult to connect with source.
To be with it, I know it's a question of whether to, to work with it, to get above it, to,
So do we work with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, work with it, get above it, go deeper into it. How do we do it when it's just heavy? Density has appeared. Well, the first thing always, whatever's not mine, please leave. And you just let it go. So let's all just do that for a second. Few seconds. And you can even have the image that gray stuff is just coming out your hands and feet and going down, with the understanding that it serves whatever in its release, that it's actually a gift to that which is below. Everything is reutilized in the energetic field. We can be at peace because everything is part of a life cycle. Everything that we let go of is part of something else that needs to happen in another place, time, dimension that we're not aware of, that we don't need to know about. We just need to know that whatever comes off us that is heavy is a great thing for the entirety of life. That flow is always better than less flow. So more flow is always better. So whatever heaviness we can let go of, don't worry about where it goes, don't even think about that. We want to be free. And that's where peace comes from, when we are free of judgment in ourselves. So we just let go of everything that will go. That's the first thing. And we actually cultivate white light going through us. And we use gravity. It doesn't exactly work that way, but to have that image, it's totally fine. And it allows us to release whatever needs to be released. So you visualize white light clearing all your chakras, channels, and as you work with it deeper, every cell is being cleaned, and we're allowing the white light to come into the cells for a total kind of purification as we do this practice. And we invite in the light. And light naturally clears dark. So we've taken care of everything from a spiritual and physiological perspective. We have invited in the light. And it may be that what happens when we do that is we suddenly feel a lot of pain. Might be psychological pain, we don't need to know anything. Trust me, if there's something that needs to be known, we will be informed. Otherwise, we just keep letting it go. Hello, pain. Do you need anything? Let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep releasing. And you know what? In the worst of the depths of psychological pain, it can't survive laughter. It just can't. If you start laughing, you will no longer feel the pain. You can't do both at the same time. So that's a pretty interesting thing to know if you ever need to know it. You never remember it when you need it, but if you practice it, it will start to have a place in your life. And you may make friends with all your favorite comedians on Netflix. And one thing Rebecca uses all the time is damn you autocorrect on the phone. That's an indispensable website if you want to be able to laugh. Because the number of things that people have accidentally said on their phones that they didn't mean to say are hysterical. And that's probably why we still have autocorrect. So those are a couple of things you can do to shift the field. And then, you know, if there's still this heaviness, you ask, why all this heaviness? Ask the heaviness what it needs. Inquire. What's making you? And it may be, you know, we all have deep karmic reasons that caused us to create this life, to be available to live it. And so we can sort of assume that the intense experiences that we attract are informing us about that which we invited to encounter in this particular incarnation. I mean, this is a very Indian way of looking at it, Indian way of looking at it, but it actually does make some sense. And it gives us, the reason it makes sense is because it gives us the opportunity to make sense of that which doesn't make any sense, which is why bad things happen to good people, which is where we all are in this situation. And the truth of the fact that nobody gets out of here alive. So coming to peace with those two things has a lot to do with just acceptance. That not everybody comes here to grow spiritually, and that most people go through some very intense phases of rejecting themselves and everybody else. And when one of those people turns out to be in our immediate life, we have to do cleanup first inside ourselves so that we really understand what and who and where, and sometimes clean up outside of ourselves. And it's the truth about every phase of growth is that because these things are dense, we often feel like we're doing the same work over and over and over. So we really have to understand that when things come back, it's not that we didn't do it right. It's that there is a deeper layer that we have spiraled into that needs attention again. And that the way that we healed it the last time may not or may be effective. So we try everything we know first. And if that doesn't work, then we reevaluate as best as can. Is this the same situation that, and we go deeper in ourselves, in our resolve, and we check our matrix of belief to see if it's really appropriate for what circumstance we're dealing with, or if it needs some adjustment. You know, matrix of belief is something we inherited, not something that we decided about most of the time. So we can examine our matrix of belief and say, is this really true? And understand that the people that we are connected to karmically, when they go through upheaval, so do we. And if they're thinking about us, often we know it. And so it's important that we release that person and their whatever, wishing them well, completely well. That's the best we can do for anybody who's made choices that make them no longer part of our physical environment. We wish them the highest best, and that they attract to themselves whatever is needed for their own growth. And then we let go. We really let go, because we have given them to the highest that we can imagine. There is nothing else to be done. And then again, we run white light through that whole situation within us. And we just drop the heaviness about them, about that situation. And we invite, at that point, we say, what am I not seeing? At every stage, we are open to be informed about our own inadequacy, misinterpretation, misunderstanding, our matrix of belief not getting it right. We are open to being informed about how to be helpful. First of all, to ourselves, and secondarily to anyone else who might be part of this kerfuffle within us, this density. So always we're willing to entertain a different perspective if that's welcome, if it can be shown to us. And ultimately we let go and we wish ourselves well, in addition to everybody else. Very often we'll wish everybody else well, and then we're done, but we still have this heaviness because we haven't wished ourselves well. It's important that we cultivate a generosity of spirit to ourselves, that we acknowledge that we're really doing the best we can. Mhm.
Can you explain the matrix of belief?
Okay, we use the term matrix of belief to describe that which we were given as very young children. It's actually started in the womb. That information that was poured on us in huge quantity as we were indoctrinated to being a human being that looked and acted just like our peers, elders, and teachers, parents, family, everyone that informed us about what it is to be a human being before we were of an age that could have any judgment in participation. So the matrix of belief is the foundation that we assume is how we are supposed to be without examination, because that's what we were told when we arrived. And sometimes these beliefs, this matrix of belief, is a part of the walls that we can't see in ourselves because we can't imagine that these things are not true. Because we don't remember a time when they were not there. So this is what matrix of belief is. So whenever we run into something that doesn't jibe with that matrix of belief, we either reject it out of hand or we have the opportunity to examine it. And in examining it, we are having a say in our matrix of belief. And it's interesting, you know, in the last couple of weeks, Rebecca's been doing continuing medical education, and now there's a segment called cultural competency that's required where you actually examine your matrix of belief about people from other cultures and how they appear, homeless people, how they appear, and assumptions you have about them because of your past experience, you know, all kinds of other populations than for us white privileged Americans. And it's interesting to think about implicit bias and what that means, and notice it in yourself. And, you know, just for Rebecca, going back and looking at, you know, how she felt dealing with people in a free clinic, what that was like. And there's always more to be learned in these arenas. And that's just one of them. And kind of an easy way to demonstrate matrix of belief. Does that answer the question? Is there more? Okay. So that's kind of a buzzword that we use because that's one of the fundamental requirements of spiritual growth, is to become aware of our matrix of belief and begin to replace it with our spiritual values. And as we do that, our matrix of belief will appear in stark relief as we try to implement spiritual values and discover, wait a minute, I didn't mean that. And So it goes. And often it has to do, interestingly, with putting ourselves first in certain ways, because it's like this: if you don't put your own oxygen mask on first, you can't help anybody else. And that is true in about every dimension of our lives. And because most of us have been raised as Christians who, at least Rebecca was taught that there's nothing more important than service, and service meant to others. But the truth is, if we don't serve ourselves first, we're going to end up being jealous. Never forget being a resident, having somebody on a stretcher that was so much better rested than me. And so much, it was just, it was really hard to be that tired and take care of people who weren't. and that challenged matrix of belief. And so that's just a simple one. But we often forget to take care of ourselves, to wish ourselves well at the end of a meditation, to be grateful within ourselves for what we have. And to appreciate our own efforts, because they are of such great value to life itself. Not that life itself exactly, well, that's a whole other place. We won't go there for now. Matrix of belief it's a never ending, in our experience, confrontation with our past, our heritage, and understand that every matrix of belief that we confront in ourselves and change for the better is an upgrade for our entire lineage throughout time and space. So should we be surprised that it's hard? It's got a lot of centrifugal force from the number of lives who've been connected with every part of our matrix of belief and the formation of it. Because most of these beliefs are cellular. And so we are really challenging, we are essentially always challenging our belief about death as something to be feared. Now, that's pretty much the main thing in our matrix of belief that we encounter regularly. It's pretty much all fear is fear of death. And if we understand that, we can go straight to the point when the fear arises. And the first thing we ask ourselves is how many people we've known who've gotten out of here alive. So then it is fear of the unknown. In our experience, courage is the recognition that crisis and opportunity are the same. And allowing ourselves to Breathe deeply in the face of crisis. And that gives us a little leverage point in ourselves. That capacity to take a deep breath in a hot moment. Not sure how we got there, but we hope we answered the question. Did we? How may we serve further? Well, it's 11:11. We're happy to take another question or go into meditation. It's up to you. Anything? Did that help? Okay, let's meditate. So we'll just have you pick up wherever you left off. We won't do another guided meditation. We'll just be broadcasting. Thank you so much for being here today. We've really enjoyed being with you. Such a great pleasure. So much love to you all. Bye for now.